What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/ProRevenge. Alright, this story's called The Homeless Guy Works Here? I am a corporate headhunter of sorts. I entered the family business when the reality of life woman slapped me in the face. I didn't know it at the time, but it is the best decision I ever made. I spent my formative years growing up in the Midwest. There I worked in the other family business, which was the restaurant industry. My family owned and operated two separate restaurants. They were both mom and pop style restaurants and were pretty successful. My parents decided to venture out on a limb though, and shortly before I joined the army, they transformed one of them into a gastropub. It was outfitted with 100 taps of beer and a higher quality menu. I was an adolescent poo head and worked at both restaurants. The employees there were and continue to be a second family. I grew up washing dishes, clearing tables, cooking, and exchanging stories with the regulars. I enjoyed conversing with the regulars more than anything else. Meet Richard. Richard was a World War II veteran and was one of 3 Sunday crowd regulars. The 3 were all well into their 80s, but quick-witted and smart as whips, whatever the hell that means.
OP, I've reviewed the menu many times. I don't need to see it. I have a special request though.
Yeah?
I need 6 black roosters. Make sure they are black.
Dick, the only chicken we have is dead.
God damn it, OP. Tell your mom I need 6 black roosters.
Okay, but for what?
6 black roosters?
Yeah.
Oh, they're going to be pallbearers. I need to bury a dead cock.
That was my Sunday routine for years as a child. I loved working in the restaurant. I was excited for the one to change, but I knew it would lose some of the charm, and I wasn't sure how many regulars would stick around. Nevertheless, the restaurant changed, and eventually I joined the army. Home was now an afterthought. I joined the army and started my adult life. I have always been the independent type. I never write home, and I would not expect a call from me, ever. I returned home shortly before my first deployment. After that, the speed of the army lifestyle wrapped its claws around me, and I took a nearly 2-year hiatus from my childhood home. I had just returned from another combat deployment. I was eager to go home and see my friends and family. I decided that I would meet up with an old friend on my first evening in town. Nick actually recommended that we go to my parents' pub. It was a Friday night, and the place would be booming due to the proximity of a larger university. I thought it was a great idea, and I was anxious to return to my stomping grounds. I still had my post-deployment beard and honestly looked more like a homeless bum. I was out of give-a-loves regarding my overall appearance, though. I was not dressed to impress. Nick and I had arrived shortly before 6. The place was just starting to fill up. I didn't feel the need to get a table, so we decided to sit at the bar. I plopped my ass down and then was immediately approached by Sandy. Sandy is a phenomenal waitress and had been with my family for nearly 20 years. She was family. We exchanged the normal pleasantries, but she was more eager to relay some information. Fully well, she would wind me up. I have a knack for lovery, though.
See that tall bartender?
Yeah?
That's Mike. He's a freaking butthole and he acts like he runs the place.
Sandy, I'm a butthole. That doesn't necessarily mean he's a bad employee.
He is responsible for running out all the old waitresses, and I'm pretty sure he's giving away your parents' money.
Okay, Sandy, I'll watch him. I plop my ass back at the bar and continue conversations with Nick. I really didn't pay much attention to Mike. I knew my mother was happy to have him on the staff. He was formally trained as a bartender and had very high reviews from his past employers. According to my mom, he alleviated stress, which is never a bad thing. I mean, when you put it in quotes, it kind of sounds like it could be. Hope she ain't still married to your dad. Ha! I'm kidding. Nick and I proceeded to order and catch up. We both ordered Blue Moons and the Cajun chicken and fettuccine alfredo. We exchanged stories, devoured our food, and drank our beers. Then we waited. Then we waited some more. Barkeep, can I get another Blue Moon? I will be with you in a minute. He was semi-busy, so I waited. Then I waited some more. He was with a group of 3 college-aged females. He had already completed their order. He had been talking with them for no less than 10 minutes. This was no longer a business interaction. Mike was clearly seeking an opportunity to hide the beef bus in Tuna Town, and I was growing impatient. Aside from Nick and I, there was only a handful of humanoids at the bar. The 3 college ladies, another couple, and at least 4 regulars. That totals 11 humanoids at a bar with 100 taps, which means the bar is still pretty freaking empty. Barkeep, can we get another round of Blue Moon?
I told you, I will be with you in a minute.
With a smirk, a freaking smirk, actually. The place, to include the bar, was now starting to fill up. Other people were patiently waiting now. Mike was a statue. The only time he moved was to offer the ladies a free round of blowjob shots. Mike was classy. I was not completely bothered by this until he gave them free shots of top shelf tequila. This is not bar science. You give your free shots to paying customers, people who are going to contribute to the till. Furthermore, you toast with tea or water when a patron buys you a shot. Then use those shots as future free shots. In the end, if done correctly, you are not giving away money. Mike was, and to make matters worse, he was doing it with a bottle of tequila that retails for around $150. I was livid. Nick suggested I call my mom. I've been told snitches get stitches. Calling my mom was not an option. She is a kind-hearted idiot. Really, read, "No, Mom, it's called kidnapping," if you want to get a sense of how oblivious she is. Ooh, might actually read that sometime. Furthermore, I am a sociable butthole. I am capable of dealing with problems. I may completely and utterly disregard proportionality, but I can deal with my own problems. Nick, you want a Blue Moon?
Yeah, if that stupid person ever comes back.
Don't worry, buddy. I gotcha. I should mention the cops. Yes, the frickin' cops. It was a Friday, and this pub was well established. College kids drink. College kids, specifically men, are on the hunt for anything with 2 legs and a ham wallet or squish mitten. Vagina people. They are there for the good-looking ladies, the average ladies, and the swamp donkey or stable gator ugly lady. Yikes, bro. That's mean. The cops know this. The cops are also familiar with the drunken penis measuring contest, which typically occurs in the parking lot. So the cops set up a speed trap on the highway, across the street in the furniture parking lot, and merely wait for the post-pub shenanigans. Back to the story. I depart my bar stool en route to the bar entrance. It was on the opposite side of Nick and I. I lift the bar gate and proceed my way to the Blue Moon tap. Mike was oblivious. He was still enamored with the intellectually gifted and freshly minted 21-year-old crowd of 3. I'm not saying every college kid is an idiot. I overheard their conversation though. These women were dumb. I pour Nick and I our drinks. I fulfill the order for one of the regulars and tend to the couple. Manhattan, too easy. 2 beers, too easy. I'm in the process of making my way back out to Freedom, and I am jolted back by my arm. It was Mike. He is clearly aware of my presence now. I must admit, he was much taller than I thought he was. I was nearly dangling by my tiptoes, and I could smell the $20 worth of free tequila permeate from his ball washer hole. His mouth.
What the hell do you think you're doing behind the bar?
Getting drinks?
You're freaking out of here, man.
And then quite literally drags me out to the door. I'm not freaking leaving, man. I'm gonna go back over there, sit back down, and finish my beer.
Look, butthole, if you don't leave now, I'm going to call the cops.
Frickin' call them.
Look!
He points to the furniture store parking lot.
They are right over there. Your frickin' choice.
Mike, you're frickin' fired.
Oh, I'm freaking fired. Who the hell do you think you are?
Mike then attempts to shove me through the front door. We're now making a scene, and the hostess and head chef are now present. Mike is laughing hysterically. The chef is telling me to leave, and the poor scared hostess is dialing the cops. Don't freaking touch me. I'm not going anywhere. Let's just call the cops and have them sort this out. Although we were clearly on opposite sides of this little predicament, everyone Everyone agreed that calling the police was the correct answer. Dear reader, it didn't take long. I look through the window and see a beautifully lit police cruiser making its way to our location. Well, screw me, right? Mike, chef, and hostess get to the cops first. They are explaining their side of the story, which I must admit sounds pretty believable, mostly because what they were explaining is exactly how it happened. A belligerent butthole took it upon himself to serve himself alcohol. The story checks out. Meanwhile, the other officer put me in handcuffs for everyone's protection. Fair enough, I suppose. I just wait patiently until I get to explain my side of the story. Imagine a circle full of mostly pissed off people and 2 cops. Imagine one of them in handcuffs.
Sir, did you go behind the bar and pour yourself alcohol?
Yes. Sir, you know you can't do that, right? It's illegal. No, not really.
Sir, yes, it is in fact illegal.
Not if I work here. Not if I'm an owner. I am. Addressing the group.
Is this true?
Oh! Doesn't work here. Why don't we ask Sandy? She's been here for nearly 20 years. She'll vouch for me. Mike now has an odd look in his eyes. The laughter has subsided rapidly.
Why don't we get Sandy over here?
Sandy arrives.
Ma'am, this guy is saying he works here. Is that true?
Yes.
That doesn't mean he works here, just because a waitress says he does.
Why don't we just go to the office and look at the employee roster?
Mike, the smirk has reemerged.
Sure, let's go to the office.
Our merry band of disgruntled loves and 2 cops make their way to the office. It is now the moment of truth.
How are you gonna get onto the computer? It is password protected!
Can you please remove the handcuffs? I know the password.
How about you just tell it to me and I type it?
My 3 boys.
Boom!
That mother frickin' computer jumps to life. We are now about to explore the bowels of the employee files. Oh, wow, look at that. Owners. Dad, Mom, OP Brother 1, OP Brother 2. Mike, clinging on for dear life, just looking for driftwood to stay afloat.
That doesn't mean you're him!
Officer, can you please remove my wallet from my back left pocket and get my identification? They do, and now Sandy has my mother on the line. The cops would like to talk to her. Thankfully, they kept the conversation brief.
Is OP name your son and is he an owner?
Yes! I am now removed from the handcuffs. The cops kindly excused themselves to allow me to run my pub. The reality of life now woman slapped Mike. Mike, like I said, you're frickin' fired. Now get your crap and get the hell out of here or I will call the cops. I point. They are right over there in the parking lot. Mike was stunned. The reality of what just happened and karma cookie he bit had not yet digested. The look on his face was priceless. The lights were on. The door was open, but nobody was home. It was blank dismay.
Please, I moved here from Chicago. I just bought a new house, new car.
Yeah, Mike? Well, it turns out I don't give a crap. Get your crap or point to the cops. Mike collected his stuff and left. I had a brief huddle with the rest of the workers that were currently there. I kindly explained who I was and that I am not typically always a prick, but Mike just rubbed me the wrong way. Then I did exactly what I told Mike I would do. Sat back down and drank my frickin' beer. The fallout? Well, my mom was frickin' pissed. I mean, really pissed, and threatened to remove me as an owner. My dad is more rational due to our shared line of work. I convinced him to hire a company to audit the liquor. They did. Turns out Mike was giving away nearly $700 a month in free booze. It was merely hidden by the success of the restaurants and that fact that my mother was too hands-off to notice. My mother would later on kidnap my child, according to legal definitions, so I think we're quite frickin' even now. Okay, now I really want to read that story. Lastly, Mike, I hope you never read this. Not because I want to save you the grief of reliving this life-altering ordeal, only because I sincerely hope you are too poor to have access to the internet. Screw you, Mike. This guy's so funny. OP, I like your story. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm gonna read more stories from you. Sloppy Ice Cream. That's the guy. User Sloppy Ice Cream. Good story, good writer. I like this guy's personality. Really cool. I'd be friends with this person. As long as they're kind of mean and standoffish all the time. But like, they got a heart of gold under that nasty exterior. That's the kind of stuff I like. Cause like, if someone's a jerk to you and jerk to people all the time, and like, it's kind of indiscriminate, you know, that's their thing. You know, everyone has a thing. If someone is too perfect and there's nothing wrong with them that they show you, that's what you gotta be freaked out about. If someone's a jerk to you to your face, that's fine. It's like what that one dude from Fallout New Vegas, I think, said. It's like, I don't trust people that are too neat or something. Like, if you see a dude who walks around with his pants on his head all the time, you get what that's his thing. You know what I'm saying? That's his quirk, if you will. And so that's someone you could probably trust with your life, unless they outwardly display traits of someone who's not trustworthy. But I'm telling you, if you see a dude with pants on his head, you can trust him with your life. Unless he's on drugs, then you want to stay away. All right, there's a fine line between being eccentric and being a junkie. All right, this story's called The Hurricane Seat. So I work as a Black Hawk crew chief in the US Army. A small part of my job involves ushering people in and out of the aircraft, getting them seated, and helping them fasten their seatbelts. Most people, regardless of rank, are pretty respectful when getting on my aircraft. They comply with orders I give them and usually don't cause much of a fuss. However, during my time in Afghanistan, I had the absolute pleasure of transporting one of the most entitled first sergeants I've ever met. He wasn't in our direct chain of command, but rather he was a company first sergeant for the task force we were attached to. He had been giving my coworkers and I grief for most of the deployment, as we were the black sheep of the task force, but my own company command couldn't do much to stop him. One day though, he had to make a trip to another base a couple hours away, and I couldn't help but notice that he was the only passenger. I set my plan into motion. The morning of the flight, I took out the whole row of seats between the crew chief seat and the back, so he had to sit against the back wall of the cabin. I opened our cabin doors and put a bungee cord on them so they couldn't shut. I then only left one seat down, so he had no choice but to sit there. It was a very specific seat, affectionately known as the hurricane seat. What followed was the longest 2-hour flight of this man's life. It's like being strapped to a chair in a wind tunnel for hours on end. I know, because I've sat there before. I looked back to check up on him throughout the flight, and all I received were death glares in return. After we dropped him off, the pilots and I had a good laugh about the whole thing and went on our way. Never had too much trouble from that guy after that. That is so freaking funny. I love that. Oh my god. Oh man, that makes me think of those hurricane simulators that they have in like shopping malls. Those are so fun to go in. I've only been in them once though, but I'm picturing this pissed off officer just giving this dude a death glare as I was about to say the S word, as his crap's just flying all over the place, and he's just standing there, boiling. Good stuff. Thank you, OP.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.